Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome back to episode 21 of Civilization 5 as Rome. We are currently at war with Brazil. We took out Belo Horizonte on the last couple of videos and we're now slowly starting to move our army across the sea over to the island where his capital is, because we would very much like to take it for ourselves. Now if we do manage to take it, I'm going to have to make sure that I have a little army over there just to protect it and make sure that nobody else comes and claims it back. Of course, at the same time, I still need to have some troops around to protect my own island. If we get a good enough navy, we won't have to worry too much about this, because we'll just be able to sink any troops that attempt to try and land. That said, Japan and Siam do both have a city here. As crappy as they are, they could potentially land a few troops, so we will have to be careful. I'm also riding quite a lot on the fact that Brazil have little to no army at the moment, so we'll have to see how that works out. Now the big problem at the moment with Brazil is they do actually have the Great Wall. I don't know whether or not they've discovered gunpowder at this point, so it's quite possible that we're not going to have to worry about the Great Wall. Now, I did think about taking these cities, or at least taking one of these cities. I'm not really too sure that it is worth it, to be honest. This city could potentially be good. It does have silver, it has stone, 2 sources of stone, it has sheep. We've certainly got the happiness to take it. It would give us somewhere a little bit closer to Valletta, but I just don't know. I don't know if it's going to be all that worthwhile in taking out. They do have riflemen in there. Now then. Rifleman means they have gone through... Where's rifleman? Lost it already. Should we go musketman into rifleman when you get gunpowder? Chemistry, yeah. So it's musketman. And then, where's the upgrade to rifleman? Going blind again, as usual. Ah, there we are. So it's into rifling. So, doesn't tell us whether or not they have dynamite. We'd need to see something from railroad or artillery to confirm whether or not they have. So, if we move in here, we can potentially take some damage from the city. It doesn't look like they have any other units in there. So, my question is, if I were to attempt to take this, how much damage could I do to it on a single shot? Not really enough to warrant risking trying to land anything there. So, let's just back away a little. I just want to have a look down here, make sure they don't have any other ships. And I think everyone else will just make sure that we keep these guys covered. We want to move as far forwards as we can. We've got a general here. We do have our artillery. Now, unfortunately, everything moves quite slow through the water. I'm also trying to make sure that I move up at least a handful of melee units, because at the moment we don't really have any. So we are going to need to get a melee unit or 2 across the water. We have our scout over here. I remember that guy now. We were trying to have a look around. Now we do see there's another Brazilian city here, so we've got to be careful of that. We could always take a shortcut through Bratislava. And I'm in that position again where my workers have pretty much done everything useful that they can. I guess we do need a road up to Belo Horizonte, so we should go and start work on that as soon as possible. You're just having a look round here. So yeah, so they do have Gatling guns. So we may not necessarily want to try and take these cities. They're not really worth it for us anyway. So we could potentially lose units trying to take these 2 little cities that aren't really going to be that big of a problem. So the Mayans have... he wants to peace out. We're not interested in that. Just want to make sure that he isn't fielding an army over here that could be a potential problem. I mean, Valletta's militaristic. We could always try and get Valletta on side, and they could potentially take that city for us. Currently allied with England, though, and we need 107 influence to push them over, so I guess we can't do that. Unidentified spy stolen industrialization from us. We're really going to need to get a defensive spy in as soon as possible. 59% chance for a coup. I think we'll wait for that to finish and then potentially move you into Rome. How much are you in front of us by? 28. That's quite a bit. So even if I give him 500 gold, I wouldn't get right ahead. Okay, we'll have to wait on that one. Well, that is Bogota, and that is where we are working to rig the election. So we're just going to sort of cut through here. It's a little bit of an unfortunate place to stop, but oh well, can't really do an awful lot about that now. So let's just make sure that we are using our ships just to cover our escape and make sure that they're not going to send any units up to try and interfere with our little naval excursion. We'll get these guys across as much as we can. Now, last time I checked, Brazil were in quite a few wars with some of the other civilizations, so I'm hoping that that will keep them quite busy. We really do have terribly low movement on these units, which is, you know, not surprising really, but why can it doesn't let me click things sometimes for some reason. You are fully healed, so I would quite like you to embark. You can stay there just to make sure. I don't think they're going to build any ships in these provinces, or provinces in these cities, but you never know. So let's just put things on alert. Got a caravan here. Yerevan wants a trade route, so we'll probably do that. You were sending production to Karakoram, but let's just go to Yerevan just to make sure we complete that quest. Keep them really, really happy. Okay, sorry about that little cut there. I just had someone randomly messaging me, and it crashed out my game. My own fault for not shutting down things in the background, but can be a little bit annoying. Anyway, I was just about to say, I don't really think that they're going to produce any ships from these cities, and we need to just make sure that we keep Yerevan sort of friendly with us. Well, that's why we've just set that trade route back up again. I think we're plenty out in front with our relationship with them, but it's always good just to make sure that it's going to cap out and it's not going to... they're not going to be taken over by somebody else, because that could be particularly bad. If Brazil took them over, then we'd have somebody on our island that we'd have to fight against. So we don't really want that to happen. So, well, they're still producing cannons. Yeah, I fully expected those guys were going to get attacked. The city must be right on this tile here, so they were well within range of the city. Unfortunate, but not unexpected. It's only a scout. We've scouted most of the land on the map, so I don't really mind that too much. Maybe we should really go and do something up on that island. I mean, there's a lot of city-states up there. That could be really useful for us. So, they've got a machine gun in there. Again, if we wanted to do any damage here, could we? Nah, it's not really worth it. I love how they've got, like, one random little trading post over here. What I would like to do, though, is, if at all possible, attempt to take out that Gatling gun. Not too sure anybody is within range to reach it. You can only move one more tile, so that leaves you out. What about you? Can you get within range to reach it? Again, if you move forwards, you're basically going to have the same problem. We will move over there, though. You are technically in range now. You can stay here, just guarding from the south, and everyone else... just start to move up, or I should say at least continue to move up. Not necessarily sure that the Great General is going to be all that useful in this situation. I love how the Lancers move faster when they're embarked than the artillery do. That's quite strange. I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to use the Great General to set up a citadel because it needs to be adjacent to our own borders, but at least maybe we can use him to boost the damage output of the artillery and potentially make it easier to try and take their capital. Yeah, they are landing units up here. This is going to make them a little bit more difficult to take out. Obviously, we don't need to take them out. They're not a huge priority, but if we can take out units on the way, then, you know, why not? So we'll definitely have a few pot shots over at this little guy. In the meantime, we'll continue to move everybody else forwards. So you guys, you're basically going to construct a road up to here, and I'm just going to tell you to automate it because it'll be easier. You've only got to go 3 tiles. Hopefully you'll go in the right direction. We can go ahead and connect this coal up now as well, so let's get on with that. So what can we do about you? Not as much as we'd like to. Should have actually moved away 1 tile there. I'm actually within range where they can retaliate. I should have moved 1 tile away and used my range to my advantage where they couldn't hit me, so that was a little bit of a silly mistake. That said, the AI sometimes is notoriously bad for embarking units when it takes a little bit of damage, so we'll see what happens. We'll just continue to move forwards with everything else we've got. The quicker we can get to Brazil, the better. Well, the quicker we can get to Rio, the better. They are still at war, at least I need to double check. They were still at war with a fair few of the other civs, so while they're busy doing that. So let's have a quick look. They are currently at war with Japan and Siam. They're not at war with Morocco anymore, which is a little bit of a shame. I bet they probably still have a peace treaty. Yeah, so we're not going to get those to go to war anytime. That's a little bit of a shame, because him being the direct neighbour to Rio was probably doing the most attrition of his armies. Yeah, so this guy's going to fire back. This is my own stupid fault. I've taken 1/3 of the damage now on this ship. I should have moved back to this tile here. That was just really stupid play on my behalf. But we can go and heal this guy up. So let's just move him back a tile. And now we'll start shooting at this guy again. We'll make sure that we keep this guy front and center, just to make sure they don't have anything coming from over here. Unfortunately, you don't have an awful lot of sort of distance that you can see while you're embarked. But we'll move everything as far forwards as possible. Make sure that we've got at least a melee unit so we can take it. So Beshbelik has grown and Rome has grown. Beshbelik, you have chosen to work the vineyard, which is not a bad idea. Rome, you have grown and you have chosen to work the mine, which again I suppose isn't a terrible idea really. We could go and work the public school though. 33 turns until growth, 10 turns for production, 33 turns until growth, 11 turns for production. I would like to get the Louvre, but I also want to stay ahead in science. We have another artillery. We could send that out. I guess we probably should. Let's go and send it towards Beshbelik, because that way it can use the roads. You're working on the coal. You have finished with the farm, and again, we're in one of those what do we do with you now kind of predicaments. I guess we could go ahead and get another farm or two over here near Karakoram. We are going to need to get an archaeologist or two. Got quite a few sites here that we could potentially use for landmarks even. Once again, Japan wants to go to war with England. So we will allow that to continue. We've still got a pasture here that we can construct, so we'll probably do that with this guy after we've completed the road. That's a very, very long city-state turn. I wonder what they're up to. Work has begun on an opera house. Okay, what have we got here then? Beshbelik has finished its university. That is good for us. Beshbelik isn't coastal, so we can't build anything coastal-like. It doesn't have a public school. It should definitely get one of those. I guess we are going to need some more happiness. Let's get a Colosseum and let's get a granary in. Actually, we'll get the granary first. That'll help with the growth. It's also working the workshop. Do we want it to be doing that? Or do we want to be working the university? 11 turns until growth. I guess we can do that. That should be fine. And again, we've got these units here, so let's go ahead and finish wrecking these guys. It looks like he healed up a little bit there. We'll finish him off. We'll move that guy back on the next turn. So, just trying to use this ship now to see... See, there we go. They've got an ironclad. So, we want to make sure that we stay... I wouldn't say out of range of the ironclad. They've got a frigate there as well. There we go. So, they've actually got ships here. This is where we need to be careful. We need to make sure that we keep any of our units out of range of any ships that they may have. Even more annoyed at myself now for letting that ship get damaged. I really need to make sure that I keep everybody sort of well out of harm's way. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to be able to destroy this frigate. We do have 2 more frigates close by that we can come in and help with. And knowing that they've got that ironclad... Yeah, the ironclad is actually coming in to fight us straight up. That's going to take... not as much of my health as I expected it would, actually. I was really expecting that to do more damage. Now, of course, I don't really want to lose any of my ships, but it's just as important that I keep my my units alive as it is my ships. So let's start moving around with these units. I could move... Well, I can move to there. You will be out of range. I was going to take this guy home and get him repaired up, but I think I'm actually just going to go and... bring him down for the fight. Hopefully we won't get destroyed here. He's got very low health. He may decide to back off. Now I'm taking a bit of a risk here because I'm exploring with a embarked unit. Doesn't look like he has any other units over here that can really do anything though. So I'm just going to start moving all these units forward. We will have to unembark them all quite quickly. Try and make sure we can... block any of his units that might be... or any of his ships that might try and destroy them. So we'll go on to the next turn. Now this guy's kind of got zone of control issues here, and he'll probably just back off because of the damage that he's taken. At least that's what I'm hoping he will do. Let's get another artillery out here. We may need it, we may not. If we don't, then it doesn't really matter. I think I sent you here for not a trading post... Wanted a farm. Silly mistake. Clicked on the wrong button. Getting a little bit flustered with things now. That's always what happens when a recording crashes in the middle of a recording. I always suddenly think, oh, that was unfortunate. I always suddenly think to myself that I'm going to have to restart a recording. So we've lost a unit there, which I didn't really want to happen. I hope that wasn't one of my massively upgraded units. But we did expect that we would probably lose a unit or two doing this, so it was to be expected. And work has begun on a privateer. We've discovered steam power. So we could potentially, if we wanted to, go and start building ironclads of our own. Start getting the artillery over. Right, so first things first, let us go and get rid of that ironclad. And we'll start disembarking a few of these units. Including our artillery, because remember, our artillery can outdistance their cannon at this point. Let's go ahead and just fire at the worker, because why not? It's fun. Should be able to get you close enough to completely sink that worker. Bratislava declared war on me. Any particular reason? Are you allied with... Oh, yeah, you don't know why it took so long for that war declaration to come in. Very, very odd. Okay, well that's fair enough, because they are allied to Brazil, so that makes sense. Let's continue to move these units forwards where we can. Again, such a shame to lose a unit. Hopefully this guy's going to stay there, because he can't... well, he could try and get past these frigates, but... Now, if he moves any units forward, he's going to have to deal with a Gatling gun. We've got to be very, very careful with these artillery. Very, very careful. Because we just don't know what other units they have around. Because we can't see NAFL. So, let's go and move in. Now, we also need to be careful where we put the Gatling gun. Because we don't want to put the Gatling gun in a position where it's going to be easily destroyed. Yeah, and we do have the Great Wall in effect here as well. Which is really not a good thing. So let's start moving the rest of these units in. I'll just start moving them up. I mean, we could potentially take it out with a single artillery. You're just going to sleep for now. We'll leave that general there. Gatling gun, you are going to go... well, you might as well just go on to alert, but I'm sure it'll alert every single time. I think we'll get one of these ships just down on the south here. Give us a little bit better of a view, and then we can use these units to stop anything that might be coming in from the north. Now, you would theoretically have room to land. As we can't see anything too nasty down here, we will try and land you. You can stay there. We'll go on to the next turn. Right, he has produced a Lancer now. He's actually moving out the back of the city with it. Now, Lancer shouldn't do too much damage against an artillery. The big problem I've got down here is I don't really have a lot of room to get Gatling guns in front of the artillery. That is a very big issue in this. So, I can potentially get this Gatling... oh, I can't move the Gatling gun 2 spaces because of the annoying... the annoying wall. Well, that did some damage. So let's see if we can get this Gatling gun over into range. Not that Gatling gun, sorry, that artillery. We are going to need to try and land these Gatling guns when we can as well. Make sure we keep moving this guy forward. Of course, we can always use the Lancer to take the city, assuming we can get its health down low enough. Let's head north a little bit, just in case they do have any ships knocking around in that area. You have finished whatever it was you were doing. Go over there and build a mine, I guess. A little bit annoying that Japan's got a fair few bits and pieces over here that could cause us some problems, but I think we're okay for now. You can move down as well. We'll try and get one of you down on the south there. Let's just do a little bit more exploration. There we go. At least we can see this whole area now. So we do have some free space where we could potentially put our units. I don't want to take any bombardment from the city, especially as it has a cannon in there. That would actually do quite a bit of damage to us. So two annoying things at the moment. One, we've got a line of mountains and a hill. And secondly, we are still being hampered by the penalty from the Great Wall. It's a double-edged sword, really, because we've got the Great Wall, but we won't have to worry about that once he discovers dynamite. But once he discovers dynamite, he'll be able to build artillery, which we will have to worry about. I am going to go and use my artillery on the Lancer, because I want the Lancer gone. Try and land some of these Gatling guns. Got a Lancer of my own, which I might have to take the long way around. Let's start moving you forward. So just going to move some units around to the other side here so we can try and land them to keep the artillery safe. Antium has grown, our not so very good city. You could work the public school, I suppose. Let's go ahead and do that. Try and make sure we stay ahead in science, especially if as we're being quite aggressive in this game. We're not really going to get an awful lot of research agreements anymore. Not that we were anyway, but... And there's no where for you to disembark, really, so you can just go on alert for the time being. We have another rifleman. I think I might just sort of keep him in the city, in the main island for now, because I don't really think we need to take him all the way over to Rio. It's pretty pointless anyway. It'd take him too long to get there. We have a caravan here who was previously sending food to Kume, which is still not a bad idea. Let's get it grown a little bit more. We are starting to work on an archaeologist. But that's all I can do on this turn, so I'm going to end the video there. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you're still enjoying Civilization 5 as Rome, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, goodbye for now.